What movie recommendations do you have for aquatic horror?
What's up, everybody? How you doing?
Hey,
welcome.
Nice to meet you, Henry. How you doing?
Yeah, is this segment in with me taking my shirt off at the beach? Is that the aquatic horror? Is this a prank on me? What's going on here?
There's a lot. I got to tell you, this is probably the biggest segment we've had, and it's funny because this is the sub genre of horror, and it's like I got a lot of movies, so hopefully you have like 2 days.
I'll get out of the way. Go.
Well, yeah. So aquatic horror is aside from a few films, and I say like maybe even a couple, it's really overlooked. But we're going to start very quickly with the most romantic film of all time, Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Hey!
If you're going to kick off the aquatic horror, you got to start with this. That's it. Now,
Adrienne Barbeau, right?
I'm sorry?
Was that Adrienne Barbeau?
Negatory, sir, but she's on the list. She's coming. Okay.
I like
What was
this
it?
going.
I'm mixing something up.
Oh,
Was The Shape of Water influenced by that movie?
100%. I think Del Toro and Wally, please chime in if you hear anything. Anybody as well. Del Toro has a massive love affair with Universal Monsters. In fact, he almost had a shot to. In fact, he did to curate their library, and it just didn't work out. Is that correct, Wally? Do you recall that?
Yeah, I mean, he was so far as to he was going to even start remaking those movies, but they could never get the deals right on it, and so he was like, I'm tired of waiting, and he made Shape of Water as a way of basically making a Creature from the Black Lagoon film.
Yeah, and then they're like, no, please come back. He's like, nah, I got other things to do.
I won Best Picture with this. I don't need you.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so moving forward, we're gonna skip many decades and just go right to the first blockbuster. Boom! Aquatic horror of all time in space is literally this one. Everybody's seen it, and if you haven't, it's streaming. Go get it. Get it on Blu-ray. It's a hell of a movie. In fact, it's probably one of the best popcorn thrillers of all time. That's just my opinion.
Well, it really put Spielberg on the map. That was the big one that really the amount of money they made on that movie was insane. Oh yeah, in fact, I mean that movie almost was the plug was going to be pulled 2,000 times, and I can't imagine what cinema today would look like. I mean, some wunderkind would come around and take it in a good direction, but I can't imagine what cinema would look like today had it not happened. It'd be totally different. There's some people who say right now that they wish it never happened, but that's another segment. Oh, of course, they said it ruined cinema. Wow. Yeah, but I disagree.
Exactly. The first summer blockbuster.
100%. Yeah. So we're gonna skip right to John Carpenter's The Fog. Starring Adrienne Barbeau.
Oh, okay. All right.
Now, this is the most atmospheric movie, I think, in the whole recommendations that I've got. Unfortunately, some of the optics don't translate to today's audience, but it's still atmospheric. It's still a great story. Some really fantastic camera work. The end. Jamie Lee Curtis is awesome.
Dean Cundy, I know that. Dean Cundy was the DP.
Oh, God bless him. Yeah. In fact, actually, Janet Leigh makes an appearance. Jamie Lee Curtis's mom makes an appearance in the film. So it's kind of cool to see the family affair.
Oh, wow. Very cool.
So we're going to skip all the way to 1989. And I've got a list here because this is fucking retarded. Pardon my language. In 1989, there were 6 movies that were released. Now, remember our last segment? We had Deep Impact and Armageddon, right?
Yes.
Everything was duplicating each other. Well, 1989 murders that segment because Leviathan, The Abyss, Deep Star 6, Evil Below, Lords of the Deep, Endless Descent. These are all aquatic horror films. Wow. Yeah. And you only heard of 3 of them.
Not only just aquatic horror films, most of those are let's go to the lowest part of the ocean and have aquatic horror films.
Oh yeah.
It is the tightly connected.
Well, if you're going to look for a horror in the deep water, you're going to look for the deepest water where nobody's ever been to find those monsters, right?
Or you could just go to the beach like a normal human being.
Yeah, exactly.
And watch Kevin.
So
now we're back to aquatic horror.
Deep Star 6. Okay, not to be confused with Deep Space Nine. Deep Star 6,
right?
Which really should have been called Deep Star 60 Minutes until something fucking happens because this movie sucks. I hate to say it. Everybody in this movie is awesome, but this movie is a hard skip worthy film. Boom, done.
Deep Six that box.
Yes. Now Leviathan is what you want. In fact, no, I gotta give Deep Star 6 a little credit because they didn't have the budget Leviathan has, and I do like the cast of Deep Star 6. But Leviathan gets right to it. It's a little clunky in terms of some of the effects. It's a Stan Winston feature, so the effects are pretty fucking good. But it becomes a man in the suit at the end, which doesn't really, compete against like the Abyss. You're really not. And so Leviathan, at the end of the day, it's a good fucking movie. So there you go.
All right.
There's more. No, dude, right. No. I'm going to bore you guys forevermore.
This is halftime.
Dude, where's the weekend?
Wearing tighty whities on their face.
Oh, nicely done. Nicely done.
Well produced.
Well produced. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna just hook this up real quick. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So there's a movie in 1990 called The Rift. Okay, by the director of Pieces, a horror film. Is it good? Not really. Is it worth looking at once in your life? It is. While you're folding laundry. So just a heads up. Yeah. So we're going to skip to like basically the late 90s. Boom. Anaconda. Wally and I watched this probably pretty recently, as a matter of fact. And
a couple months ago.
You're not going to really like do better than two villains in a film. You got an anaconda that wants to murder and squeeze everybody. And then you got John Voight.
Yeah. Yeah. And you've got
Jennifer
Lopez.
Oh, of course, but like yeah. You got Jennifer Lopez, you got Ice Cube. I mean, you got the dude from Jumanji who played Robin Williams' abusive father. I mean,
I feel like that movie has three villains, though, Anthony. You have the snake, you have John Voight, and you have John Voight's accent. Jesus Christ. How you were able to talk about that movie that long without bringing it up is commendable to your commitment to the bit.
Yes.
What was his accent? What was he doing?
Yeah, what was he supposed to be?
Vaguely south of Texas. Yeah, like literally all of the world. If you take everything south of Texas and put it into one accent, so a lot of like Hispanic, South American, French, for some reason. I think maybe Eskimo. Yeah, it's a little bit of everything.
Inuit, sir.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
It's a hell of a movie. It totally holds up. We had so much fun watching this shit. And in fact, we threw it on as like a goof. No disrespect. And we're just like totally watching it.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was fun.
I know a lot of young guys wanted to watch it because of Jennifer Lopez.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. You can't deny she was like.
Sure, that anaconda could kill a 400-pound man, but can it encircle J-Lo's ass? I don't know.
Kevin, God bless you, man.
Well,
you gotta watch to find out.
If it did, it certainly wouldn't be able to squeeze it.
Not without coming back for seconds.
Hey, no. What do we got? Is this the baby bird scene?
Oh, let's hear this.
I'm getting the hell back to LA. So it's got to be prepared.
It's good to be prepared.
He sounded like Scarface.
He's trying to do Scarface. Yes, he is.
He did. He sounded like Scarface.
Yeah, it's pretty poor. But what's not pretty poor is fucking Deep Rising, dude. This movie's awesome, dude. Steven Sommers, who went on to do the Mummy fame. And, dude, if you want to do a drinking game where every time Treat Williams says, now what? You're gonna be pretty drunk by probably the midpoint. You're gonna be at least nicely buzzed. Yeah. But this movie it's a hard monster movie with Famke Janssen and a slew of other awesome characters. You really can't beat it though. It's a super fun popcorn flick. It's not the definitive popcorn flick, but it's a good one. So
well, I'll tell you, you said now what is it, dude, isn't that's exactly how you write any horror film or any any action film, because everything goes wrong one by one. Now what's going to go wrong? What's going to go wrong? Now.
As long as Treat Williams' voice is in your head saying now what, you're good. As you're writing, yes, you're good.
What was that, Henry?
It's kind of a weak catchphrase for a tough main character. Now what? Like it's not like you're expecting somebody else to be doing something, you know.
You know what? It's a good point. It's a good point because he's so inconvenienced, as opposed to like a dude like Arnie in Commando. He'd be like, "What do you got? What do you got?" You know. But wow, what? I was about to have a cigar.
I think Urkel could have pulled that off.
No, you know what character that catchphrase was made for, though? It's clearly the Highwayman.
Oh yeah.
There you go. Let's come full circle.
I like it. But I will say, as good of a popcorn flick as it is, it's not the best popcorn flick for aquatic horror. Deep Blue Sea. Okay, this movie is criminally underrated. In fact, I think it gets clowned. And I gotta say, it fucking holds up. It really does. Some of the effects might be like, okay, fine, I'll forgive a frame or two regardless. But it knows what it is. It's smart about it. And it's as cliche as some of it can be. I mean, dude, you fucking eat LL Cool J's bird, you're going to get served. Deep Blue Sea. What do you got, Wally? I know you like this one.
No, this movie is like the best. I mean, obviously proving that we all messed up as a society, not making Thomas Jane an important action star. Like, yes. That's a big thing. This was also the film famously that Samuel L. Jackson just gives a really rousing speech about survival, and then immediately a CGI shark pops in and kills him. That's Deep Blue Sea.
Now, I got to say, let me chime in real quick. I wished what Sam Jackson did, I wished Steven Seagal did for Executive Decision. But in fact, he was killed in 2 minutes. I'd rather him have like a super speech and then he was killed, 45 minutes in. But I'm bringing it to action now. So in the Executive Decision, Steven Seagal was top billed because he was like the hottest actor. But it was really a Kurt Russell movie. And this is the first time I felt cheated. I was like kind of a kid at the time. I saw it in the theater. I'm like, yeah, Steven Seagal movie. And I'm watching it with my dad. And within 2 minutes or whatever the fuck, he gets killed. And I'm like, is he coming back?
Right.
Not only that, too. Executive Decision is a movie about, it's like pre-Air Force One. There's like there's an issue with the president in a plane. Mm-hmm. So they send like a squad of Hyperman awesome action heroes to get into the plane with like a crazy jet entrance, and all this is happening. You're getting Steven Seagal's the lead, and he's kind of like doing the barking the orders, making sure everyone makes it on the plane, and then like immediately at the crescendo of the action scene, right as he's about to like make it the last in on it, and then everyone like has that big applause moment at the end of the first act, the plane underneath it like just blows up or gets sucked out, and he just like almost like a cartoon gets like whooshed out of the airplane, never to be seen or heard from again, just fallen unceremoniously to his death and out of nowhere. And so like the kids in the movie who were expecting, because exactly like Anthony said, it's a Steven Seagal film. It's like, imagine, they're making an Iron Man movie and Robert Downey Jr. is in all the advertisements, and 2 minutes in, he's gone, and then it's all about, Don Cheadle.
Jamie Kennedy. Something, just like something different. No disrespect to Kurt Russell, but yes.
Yeah. Well, it's like No, they've done that a few times. It was like with Godzilla and what's his name from Breaking Bad?
Eddie Murphy in Best Defense.
Bryan Cranston.
Yeah. He died like in, I was looking forward to seeing him.
Hey, I haven't seen it yet. Come on.
6-year rule, man.
Yeah.
I saved you some time.
So in the last segment, I spoke about people spoiling shit 40 years, later. Wally and I have seen thousands. Hold on, I pointed wrong. Well, Jesus Christ. Wally and I have seen thousands of movies together. And when we agree, we wholeheartedly agree. When we disagree, people will leave the room because this guy and I are so passionate about our viewpoints. But yes, I probably had enough time to watch the Cranston version of Godzilla. Yeah.
Not worth it.
Can I put a capper on Deep Blue Sea, though, for a second? Because just like one of my favorite things ever about this movie, the main theme, like the theme that plays as the like helicopter pans out and you see the ever smalling main heroes, and then the credits come up.
Directed by Rennie
literally sounds almost exactly like the main theme from Shrek, like from a couple years later. And what happened is
not Smash Mouth.
It's not Smash, like the actual score from Shrek. Yeah. And what happened was, in Deep Blue Sea, they asked Trevor Rabin, the composer, to just do a general Hans Zimmer sound for the score. And so like he took elements from all of that. And then Shrek was written by Harry Gregson Williams and John Powell, who are proteges of Hans Zimmer. So like they got it from a different place, but then it all came together where then they both kind of sounded almost exactly the same because they were the sum of their inspirations, which were kind of the same. And like, it wasn't like the composers were different. It wasn't like they were friends or anything. I'm sure they're nice to each other, but like, it were two separate entities within that's what, 99 on Deep Blue Sea and Shrek's 2001. So like in a 2 or 3 year period, these two scores were coming, and just like, that's one of my favorite little weird coincidences of art, is that like, it's one thing to see two films get made that are the same thing. Like, that makes sense because you understand a lot of people have to make those decisions. And at some level, someone's like, yeah, let's, shit in the Cheerios to someone else. But when it's two like smaller cogs of the larger machines having creative impetus based on how they're doing it, and then they end up sounding the same, it's just it's compelling and it's interestingness. And that's my favorite little factoid about Deep Blue Sea. So you're welcome for having to deal with it for 2 minutes.
No, that's beautiful. No,
it's kind of similar. It's kind of similar to Vanilla Ice and the song Under Pressure.
A little bit.
Same situation, exactly. Down to the humming on national TV.
Yeah, I got to say, I actually skipped, unfortunately, because I have to admit it. I don't have the tape, and I feel really bad. I'm going to rectify that very quickly. But within Aquatic Horror, I can't overlook Piranha.
Oh,
there you go. All right. Susanna was all on point. I wasn't. God bless. Piranha, directed by Joe Dante. Actually, Steven Spielberg thought this spoof of Jaws was so fucking awesome. He what did he do? He gave him Gremlins. He actually watched Joe Dante's career. He ended up doing The Howling in '81, and they met, I think, during the Twilight Zone anthology, where Joe Dante had a bit. And so did Spielberg, which led to Gremlins and everything else, Inner Space, and so on and so forth.
Oh, dude, Joe Dante, some of his movies are my favorite movies of all time. I mean,
he knows what he's doing. And Wally, we met the dude, and like I said in another segment, he was like the nicest guy. He just likes movies. He has no children. His children are his movies, and he's very good at what he does. And I think studios should fucking throw money at that guy because he has a hard time raising money now.
Yeah, it's funny because my movie, the Reaper movie, we are Vincent Guastini.
Yeah, Facebook pal, but
yeah, he did the special effects for a bunch of movies, big movies, and he knows Joe, and he read my script, and he wants to show it to Joe at some point, but not until we get the full money. But yeah, that's pretty cool, man. I can't believe I didn't know he did that movie.
Oh yeah. So he was spoofing fucking Jaws. He was working for Roger Corman at the time, like fucking Piranha. The end. Perfect spoof. Even though they took it seriously.
Yeah, it's really funny too because you normally, when you think about James Cameron directing the sequel to a classic horror film directed by legendary director, you go to Aliens, but Piranha 2 was actually James Cameron's first, or one of his first directorial efforts.
He actually took it over,
and Piranha 2 actually was my first introduction to not just the Piranha verse, but also like the whole like indie B movie, like off the beaten path scene. Because as a kid, like it was playing, at 10 o'clock on HBO, and I should not be watching HBO past 8, so of course I'm going to watch whatever's on at 10 o'clock at HBO, and you start to like get excited about it, and it's a stupid B movie, but it's Piranha 2, and digging into it, Cameron, it was his that was his sort of shot that a lot of people started to look up and say, we need to give this guy some bigger projects.
100%. Could not have said it better. He God, the name escapes me, but there was another sci-fi movie that Corman did earlier where Cameron was working on the effects side, and he ended up leading that team. And
like
that's
why Stars or something like that.
I think that's what it is exactly. Yeah. And
okay. Sorry. Go ahead. No, it's okay. I was just we're running a little long. I just want to make sure we don't go over time.
I did want to bring up a movie
I see 400 people watching right now. Do you want to cut them off of this awesomeness? I mean,
no, keep going.
Yeah, come on, man.
Somebody's doing this show from a lighthouse.
If anybody's got obligations, beat it. We're going to continue. Shit, all good. I get it. We all have lives. No, I'm joking. I don't want to get chastised. No, but yeah, dude. So, Cameron, Piranha 2, The Spawning. I think it was 82, 83. God, probably 82. Basically, piranhas and grunions get together, they mate, and then they start flying. And they fucking murder people at a tourist resort. It's awesome. But it's not really a good movie. But it's awesome.
It's like Sharknado without the tornado.
Oh, yeah.
It really is. It really like that's where the lineage of that stuff comes from.
It's another aquatic horror. So so we're gonna skip forward to just to end the segment with the more recent aquatic horror entries. Susanna, do you have any in the mix that you can put on the screen? Otherwise, boom, Crawl. I gotta say, I was gonna end with that, but Crawl is the best, latest aquatic horror right now. You can totally get this on streaming. It's from Alexander Aja, the French director who did the remake of Hills Have Eyes, which is true horror, in my opinion. He also did High Tension, also known as originally Hot Tension. What else did he do? Dude, well, you're going to see an image in 5 seconds. He did the remake or reboot of Piranha, which was super fucking gory. Yeah. I think Wally and I probably saw that together. As we see everything together. But yeah. The
Crawl was actually a very surprisingly entertaining movie.
Oh, yeah.
But I couldn't help but laugh at when he got his arm torn off and then he still lasted most of the movie. It's like, and he's like, if I got my arm torn off, I think I'd be screaming pretty much 100% of the time. And he's still talking. He's like, "Oh God, let's get out of here."
Here's what's crazy about this movie, and this is a hard.
He had no painkillers. No painkillers. You know what I mean?
You can't prove that.
What a privileged environment if you're like getting murdered by sharks or alligators or this or that or flying piranhas. You're like, hold on, where the fuck are the painkillers? Like, no one's thinking about that. But I will say this. If anybody has not seen Crawl, step away for 5 seconds, and then of course come back. I've seen the movie now 5 times, okay? And I never remember if Barry Pepper, the father in the film, because it's basically a hurricane coming in on the Florida coast and a girl trying to save her dad who's in the basement. Not even that, the crawl space of the house underneath. So it gets flooded.
Yeah.
And I've seen it 4 or 5 times, and I never remember if Barry Pepper lives, which is a testament to the fucking movie, or I'm an idiot. There's somewhere between that. But yeah, I'm like always surprised. I'm like, he fucking lived? It's because he gets so jacked up in the movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But there's other films.
Where I got Adrienne Barbeau, she was in Swamp Thing in 1982. That's what I was thinking.
100%. Nicely done. I would say biological mutation horror. However,
yes, but swamps are water. Swamp Thing is 100% an aquatic hero.
Yeah.
Not to pull out my DC comic books here for a second, but he is of the water. So I will allow this as a.
But I will say this: the movie in '82 was a horror, if you will, but I don't find the comic to be a horror.
Oh,
there's some debatable science fiction. It's definitely science fiction. Definitely science fiction. But you know what? You were absolutely correct. Nonetheless, in fact, some of those mutations in the '82 film. When I was a kid and I saw that, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" This is a lot for a 5-year-old.
Adrienne Barbeau had a very favorable mutation. Herself.
Oh yeah. See, I was going to bring it up. I'm glad you brought it up, Henry, because I was going to bring it up. That was my favorite scene.
Yeah. So, long story short, too late. There's been a slew of aquatic horror in the mainstream cinema. Open Water. I believe it started as an indie film of sorts, made a fat splash and regenerated the cycle of aquatic horror, of the unknown underneath. And it spawned several sequels. I found it to be claustrophobically, if you can use that word, effective. It's worth looking. It's almost like a Blair Witch quality, but not as big of a splash. No pun intended. Right? You know, like when it first came out. So what? On to the next. Can't talk about anything else, but 47 meters down. Obviously, I don't know my camera cues. I actually enjoyed the second one, although this one paves the way. It's got some effective sequences, but I think Uncaged, the sequel, is better. So heads up. Moving forward.
Good information.
yeah. I'm gonna just pad this out forever. Oh, there's more. Or did we kill it all? Did we kill it?
It's like 3 a.m. We're like, oh my god.
I think you're getting cut off. I think they said that. Yeah, there's another day. We're shutting down.
That's it. And we got it all. I can't fucking believe it. Hey, love you all. Aquatic Horror, that's the 101 right there. And I could literally do another segment and bore you to death with the ones that fell between the cracks.